All right, so Google Classroom. Some of this may be a review for you. Some of this may be new to you. And some of you that are using it for a while may learn new things. And I'm sure some of you will teach me things because you're using it in your classroom. And there's some things that, since I don't use it normally, I learn as well. So any feedback, any input you can give, please let me know. I'm going to present my screen and walk you through the entire process. All right, cool. So the question always comes up, how do kids get to Google Classroom? All right, so there are a few ways. The number one way is any Google product. You can go to classroom.google.com or docs.google.com or slides.google.com or drive.google.com, and it brings you to that product. So kids go to classroom.google.com. It will bring them to Google Classroom. Also, too, you'll see on my bookmark bar, I bookmark it. I bookmark everything that I use often. So when I bookmark that, I'll show you how to do that if you never use bookmarks. When you go to classroom.google.com, Classroom pops up, right? And then if I click the bookmark little star here, this will say Google Classroom here. I get rid of the words because I know what the icon is. And then when you do that, you free up more space on your bar so you get as many as you can. I only leave the words for things I don't know what the icon is, like ASOFT. So that's bookmarking it. So, and also too, on the district website, you go to the website, we have it under the families tab on each page. So if I go to the families page tab here, it's right there. And that will bring kids right to Google Classroom, brings them right to Gmail, right to Drive. So that's ways to get to Google Classroom. And then one of the cool new Google thing that happened this year, they bought, because they like to buy a lot of things, they bought the .new extension. So anytime you go to a new tab and you type in docs.new or slides, I'll show you slides.new, automatically it will create a slide presentation and it goes right in your Drive.
Wow.
So you really don't have to go to Drive anymore to create something new. You can just go to slides.new, docs.new, sheets.new, forms.new, and then it goes right there. So that's a pretty cool thing.
Ed,
Yes.
just a quick question on the bookmarking thing. See how you have 2 rows of them? How do you make 2 rows of bookmarks? Usually when I add bookmarks, they kind of go off into the abyss and I can't see them.
All right, so this top row, they're extensions. They're not bookmarks, they're extensions.
Oh, okay.
These extensions I found in the Chrome Web Store are things that can accelerate my use of technology.
Okay. All right.
Down here about my bookmarks, then I had to click this little like arrow thing to see the rest.
Right, okay. I see.
All right, so I'm going to go to Classroom. I'm going to show you from a teacher perspective how to do things. Then I'll show you, we have a test student account for the high school. I'll show you what that looks like. And then we created a test student account for 3rd grade last night. So if you wanted to add that test student account to your classes, you can see what it looks like from a kid's perspective. All right, so let's see here. Here are my classes. Of course, everyone added me to the classes, so it looks crazy now. If I go to my East Williston staff member tech information page, so you're presented with the first tab is Stream. And 2 years ago, up until 2 years ago, Stream was the thing everyone used. And they would put assignments right here in the Stream, and it would just be populated in this long list. And then this frustrated a lot of kids, especially those with organizational issues, because if I had to find something from John Coyne, I would have to scroll through. And then if I had to find something from Christine Troskowitz, I'd have to scroll through. It was a nightmare. So Google heard that feedback, and now they created this classwork tab, which is where I really want you to live because it's so organized. But before we get to classwork, you'll see if you want to make an announcement with your class, you can make an announcement right here. Don't forget to whatever, right? And then you can post. You can add to your announcement. You can add something from your Drive, link, file, YouTube. You could post that right here in the announcement. But try not to use this for assigning tasks or materials to kids, because it does get one of the words that has come up often with this coronavirus situation is unwieldy. It gets unwieldy because it just becomes one stream, which it's really intended to be. Use that just for announcements. That's my recommendation. Here, you can decide, I want to send this announcement to all my students, or if I unclick that, I just want to send it to Allison Warner, or maybe Allie, and maybe Amy. And I could choose who to send it to. So if you have a directed response or a comment for a kid, you could do that. Just select that student. No one else will see that on the stream.
Ed, can everyone see who the students are in the classroom?
Here, yes, yep. So if students go to people, they will see who's in the class.
So, and that like defeats any confidentiality issue. So you would have to do separate classrooms.
Exactly.
Okay.
Here on the stream, you will see. I'm going to check that, Suzanne.
Thank you.
All right, Ed, can I ask you one question before you go on? What you just showed us was how we can send it to specific kids, but again,
Yes.
we don't have emails.
Yeah, so what will happen is when, since K through 2, they don't have email addresses set up, what happens is when the student logs into their classroom, they will see the comment right here.
Right, so it'll be for everyone again. I can't do the personal feedback for writer's workshop or anything.
No, you can. So if I select, here, I'll put you here. If I put, let me X out of everyone and go down to Christine. Truskowitz. I want to see you.
I think it was under C Trusk. Ed. Just letters.
You're fast, Lindsay. I thought that was me, but I wasn't sure.
There you
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah.
So if I send you a message,
Yeah. Nobody else would see it?
no one sees this. But when you log into your classroom, you will see this.
Oh, I love you, Ed. Thank you. That's
All
what
right, so that's, yeah. But like I said, use this for announcements only. I wouldn't really assign much here. The settings.
I will do this for the little ones, just so you know, because I have been using it for announcements. I had to like curtail them because they all like to start new streams. So I had to create one stream with the date and say every comment had to be under this one stream.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's the
Otherwise, there was
settings.
50,000 streams. I was going out of my mind.
Yeah, yep. Here are the class settings here. Top right is this little gear. And here's something to consider. Do you want the kids to be able to post and comment on that stream? Or do you want them just to be able to see what you comment?
Okay, I can change it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like having it that way. That way kids can talk to each other and comment on their comments. But if you don't want that, you have the settings that you can change here. Some teachers like students can only comment, meaning if you're a teacher, you put a comment out there, kids can comment on it, but they can't post something new. So that's a setting to consider. Classwork on the stream, here are your options: show attachments and details, show condensed notifications, or hide. I have condensed. If you wanted to choose the first one, you can, but it just makes the stream longer from top to bottom. And then here are some examples. You might want, I would suggest Guardian summaries up. So that way, every Friday, the parent gets a summary of what was assigned in classroom and what the student completed. Parents sometimes want these summaries every day, but it's just Fridays. Google Classroom, Google was working on a parent login for the future that parents can have their own login instead of hijacking their kids' password and they're getting in. And then you can set up grading. This is not used that often, but some people have grades set up. But regardless, you still have to go to Infinite Campus and enter those manually. So for right now, I'm not sure how important having grade calculations are in here. And that's just the beginning part of Classroom. Here is where I love the classwork piece. The tab at the top, classwork. I sent this out last night. You can make it look a little prettier with these little icons now. Instead of, for especially K-2, if you want to give an icon that looks like something like that. So here's classwork page.
Icons?
Excuse me?
How do you put in the icons?
So it's really cool. You go to emojipedia.com. Emojipedia.com, and I search like computer here.
Okay.
And it gives you all the ones like that represent computers. If I select the first one, let's say, and I hit copy right here, hit copy, and I go back to my classwork, I just click these 3 dots to rename that title. And I could just paste it in.
Okay.
You don't have to do that. It's just that if you want it to look prettier, it's cool. All right, so on the classwork tab, this is where I would say to two things. Number one is to create topics, and then under those topics have your assignments or materials. So you'll see here, I have my topics: technology for school closures, recorded tutorials, technology department responsibility chart, and I have these what they call topics. And what I have under these topics are all the material that's nested underneath that represents that topic. So when I go here to create, I can create my topics at the bottom. And you might be reading assignments. It might be writing. You can create whatever topics you want based upon what you do. Some people have a topic just for the homework. So when the kids want to see the homework, they know to go right to the homework topic and go to the top one to see what the most recent homework was. Some teachers have topics based around units they're teaching. So you can decide how you want those topics created. But once you have the topic created, you can then add material underneath. So for example, if I create and I want to create material. Material is like what I'm doing for the teachers. There's no due date. There's no assignment to be done. It's just I'm sharing something with you. So for example, in the instruction, this could be a poem. If I just want to share a poem with you, I'm just sharing a material. You're not doing anything with that poem. It's just material. If I want to share a math sheet with you and it's just material, you're not doing anything with that math. It's just material. So if I click on material, I'm going to give it a title, math homework. And in my description here is please review this sheet and complete the homework packet. What I'm saying here is you're not doing anything with this thing I'm adding here as material. I'm just giving you something. And then when I click on add, I have my options here. I can add from Google Drive. I can add a link to a website. I can add a file, something that's saved on my computer. Or right here, it's connected right to YouTube. I can add a YouTube video for him to watch. So if I go to YouTube, for example, and I type in math, and let's say this is the video I want to add, I click on it, it highlights, hit add, and now it goes right there. And now it's material for the students. On the right here is your class. So you can assign it to multiple classes. So if I want AP US to have it, and I want to also do Spanish 7-1, I can apply it to multiple classes. So if you teach multiple sections of something, or if you have reading groups that you want to assign material, in one stop, you can add it to all classrooms. For this, I'm just going to keep it on this one class. I want all students to get it. If I did not want all students to get it, and it's a differentiation packet or sheet, and I just wanted to go to Adrian, I would just select Adrian, and only she would get this material. So you could differentiate who gets what here by this piece here on the right. And then finally, where do I want this sheet nested underneath? What topic? So when I have my topics created and I click on this, my drop down is here. And I could say, all right, this is for Buncee, or this is for Flipgrid, or this is for KidBlog. And I could find a topic that this will appear underneath. That's material. That same and material is this icon here. I'll show you when we first started doing this in July of 2019, material didn't exist. So I was giving everything to the teachers as an assignment. And look what happens. It tells me of the 236 teachers on this classroom, no one did it. Of course, no one did it because it's material. But now that they have the material piece, they heard that from teachers. Now you don't have to worry about that. When I click on this, there's no assignment here, so that doesn't appear. And that same process happens for all these options. So an assignment, if I click on assignment, and I say English, writing, assignment, and I'm going to say, here are my instructions. On the Google document provided, please write a paragraph about your crazy day. And then here, when I add, and I go to Drive, I'm going to find a Google Doc. I need Google Doc right now. Let's find my live tutorial document, right? So now I have directions for the kids. I have this document that I want them to do something on. Here is where I decide, do I want the kids to only view this? If I select this, I'm expecting my kids to know how to make a copy of my document, edit it, and submit it. That's a lot for a kid. So I probably would never choose view file because if I just want them to view it, it's probably material. It's not an assignment. So then here, I want them to edit this. If I choose this, all 24 of my kids are editing one document. So for high school kids and some maybe elementary, middle school, that might be appropriate. But with 25 kids editing one document, sometimes and often you'll see kids overwriting each other, deleting each other's work. So the third choice here is make a copy for each student. When I do that, every student gets this document, but they get their own copy. So when they edit it, they're only editing their copy. And then when they submit it, I get only their copy. So I'll get 24 different copies of live tutorials. Once again, on the right here, I can decide which classes to give it to. I can decide all students or just a few students. So if I'm, once again, differentiating here and I have, let's say, 4 kids doing one level of an assignment, another 4 doing another level of assignment, I can differentiate that way through Classroom. I could set a point total here or ungraded. It's up to you. You could change the hundreds, whatever you want. And then a due date. I can give it a due date and at a certain time if I want even. The nice thing about due dates, if your kids are using, and this is more middle school and high school, if your kids are using Google Calendar, when you give it a Google due date, it goes on the kids' Google Calendar. If you leave that due date off, it does not go on the student's Google Calendar. So if you're dealing with students with special needs or organizational issues, it's always nice to add a due date here. That way, when they go to their Google Calendar, they see all their assignments that are due.
Will that disappear after that due date? Like, what if someone doesn't finish it? Will the assignment go away if there's a due date?
No, that's a good question. No, it doesn't. It doesn't go away. It just tells you it's late. Okay. And then topic. Yeah, question.
Yeah. When you have made a copy for each student and the student does the work on the copy, they shouldn't share it with you as a document. Where do they press submit so that you know that when you look at your classroom, how many kids have printed in?
Yeah, I'll show you that in a second when I get to the kids view.
Okay.
But yeah, they should submit on here though. You're right.
If we want to,
Oh,
You
sorry.
won't get an email about that, Caroline, either if they just submit on Google Classroom.
Exactly.
if we want to share a PDF, obviously we can't turn everything into a Google Doc
Yeah.
where they can edit. Is this where we do that also? And then should we just expect, I mean, obviously this is for the older kids, but should we expect them to print it out?
Mhm.
Or is there a way for them to edit that? There's
Yeah.
not,
So if
right?
you added a PDF here,
Yeah.
if you have more advanced kids or they know how to use the technology, they could use Kami
Okay.
to edit that and to annotate that, and then submit the the Kami piece. I'll show you that in a second. That's another choice here.
Okay.
Or they could print it and then just like upload a picture as their evidence.
Okay. All right. Because some of my kids did print them, and some of them just emailed. They scanned it. I didn't know what to tell them. They asked, and I just said, take a picture. Or is there a preferred method that they use, or does it not?
It's up to the teacher, and the teacher doesn't mind how they receive it. I would let the kids decide what's comfortable for them.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Kids in high school have phones, so they're more apt to take pictures and send.
Okay.
And then once again,
I don't know if I missed something.
Sure.
Is the classroom already set for you with your students because we do like small groups, or would we have to set it ourselves?
You would set it yourself. So you give the class code. So let me show you that.
Sorry.
I'll show you that in 1 second. Let me just finish this and I'll show it to you. Once again, I choose the topic I want it to be nested under. And then if I wanted to, I can add a rubric here. I can create a rubric right here in Classroom. I can reuse a rubric I already have, or I can create a rubric in Google Sheets and import that way. So that's the way you can add a rubric. And this last piece here is like a turn it in piece, originality reports. When I click on this and I hit continue, when the student submits their work, Google tells them, hold up, 40% of your stuff is plagiarized. And then it also shows on the teacher end. So when you turn on originality reports, it tells the student, like, you're not going to cut and paste in here from the internet because we're gonna know. So it's like a turn it in type of feature that the kid can see on their end. And then when I hit assign, it goes right to the kid's Google Classroom. And if they have email set up, it will send me an email. I could also click this down arrow and schedule it. So I only want this to go out maybe on Monday at a certain time. And I could then schedule an assignment. So and I'm joking when I say this, if you have a lot of time on your hands today, right? And you have work due next Friday, you could use that time and start adding assignments. You could always, if you schedule something for the future, you could always cancel it and delete it. So in a normal situation, when you're at work, I like to tell teachers and even administrators, look at your year as an entire year. So if, let's say, October is a month where things are slower for you, and you know that you're going to have assignments that you want to put out in November, December, you could schedule them when you have time. You don't have to wait that time to actually do it. So that's a way where you could schedule it. And then once something's scheduled, you can delete it. So going back to that question about how to get kids in, if I go to my main page here, this class code here, if you have the kids in your class in front of you, you can click on this little like display button and it gets bigger and you can put it on your smartboard or your flat panel. Or for now, you could just take this code and send it to your students' parents and they could get in. How you get in basically is when you're on Classroom, this little plus sign, top right, I can join a class and put that code right in here. So that's the way you can get students to come right in. You give them the code and they join.
So there's a different code for each class?
Yes, each class has a different code.
So Ed, you might not have my right code because I didn't get any message from you.
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
Ed, my class has been on Google Classroom in the classroom, so they don't need a code now, right?
No, yeah, once they're in, you're good.
Okay.
You're good.
And so each time you looked on that page, a different code would come up? Like if I want to create a code for each kid, class for each kid, how do you get the different codes?
Every time you create a class, Google assigns it a different code.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. And that's the way to get the kids on. Going back to classwork, create. I have a Kami assignment now. So if you have the Kami extension, you can create a Kami assignment. And it says, click below to choose your Google Classroom account to link with Kami. So I choose Google account. And here, if I assign a Kami assignment, I could choose the class. I could title it. Okay. And then I will then attach something from my computer, or if I go to my drive and I find a PDF, I can put that in there, and it'll prompt the students to use Kami when it's assigned.
Now, is Kami like, will kids be able to figure it out if they've never used it before?
I think elementary level, it's definitely more difficult.
Okay.
I think at the high school level, middle school level, they're more apt to use annotation tools on a document.
Okay.
Let me get out of this, cancel.
And with the Kami as well, Ed, they're able to edit it through that Kami application and submit it to you just like they would a regular Google assignment?
Exactly. They need the Kami extension, and then they use the Kami tools right on there.
Okay.
Do the kids have the Kami extension?
Yeah, I pushed it out. If not, I'm going to check. I'm pretty sure I pushed it out. Yeah, I did push it out to everyone.
And do they have to, if you assign it as a Kami assignment, does it bring the student automatically to Kami, or they have to also open Kami in order to?
It should populate Kami for them. All right. Now, a lot of these tech companies now, like Castle Learning right now, for example, they're getting hammered with kids using it because everyone's home. So, if it doesn't populate Kami automatically, they would just click on the extension, but it's meant to do that. We have quiz assignment here where you can actually do a quiz assignment. You'll see right here, automatically, when I chose quiz, automatically it gave me Google Forms. Okay, so now when kids are using a Google Form quiz on a Chromebook, and I turn this on, when they're doing this on a Chromebook, they cannot go to any other tabs. It stops them. So when you're doing a quiz on a Chromebook,
They can't cheat.
yeah, and on a Google Form on a Chromebook, they cannot navigate away. So this is the reason why I still don't understand why Scantron is still in business. Because if we had the technology, why wouldn't I just create my test, and then the kids would answer on a Google Form on the computer? Because what happens with a Google Form is all that data goes on a Google Sheet that you can quickly analyze, have data, you can sort by columns. It's so much more friendly than running a Scantron through a machine. But yeah, so when the kids are on a Chromebooks only, this will lock them on that tab, which is really nice. And you created, the point total. And here, when I click on this, I would create my quiz using Google Forms. If you know how to use Forms, it's pretty easy, but that's a way to create a quiz assignment. Then we have a question. This is almost like a chat back and forth with kids. So when I create a question, I can choose all students, and I allow students to reply to each other. This becomes a nice chat feature. So if you're checking in with kids right now and you want them to share things about what's going on, adding a question in Google Classroom is a great way to have kids chatting back and forth, replying to each other, and you can create the question. So you could say, check in for Monday, March 30th. How's everyone doing? How was your weekend? And then kids can reply to each other and comment, and it's a nice new chat feature right in Classroom. And once again, you can nest that under any topic. So if you had a topic for check-ins, because you don't see the kids every day, you can have check-in topic, and then every day there'll be a check-in here. That's a nice way to check in with kids.
When you do the other one, the quiz, can you have the questions also be read aloud to the kids?
So on Google Forms, if I create a question here, such as, where is your house? And I say East Williston, Old Westbury, Roslyn Heights, right?
Oh, so it's multiple choice. I mean, when it's not multiple choice.
Well,
I guess it doesn't matter. It really doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
you can choose whatever you want here.
Okay.
So then when I go here, if I'm a kid, and I see this, here is where I would have to use my Google Rewrite extension.
What's that?
Right.
There's so much stuff, right? And here is where I would actually play it and read it to me.
So the
No
kids won't
way.
naturally be able to easily click on something.
No, there's no read aloud feature within Google Forms, but you can use different add-ons and extensions.
But I can't set it up for them. They'd have to use it,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
I'm
And
sorry.
Can I ask a question? Just to
Sure.
follow up on that. Is Google Read and Write pushed to all students? Is it automatically an extension for all students currently?
So it's not. It's not. I can push it. Right now we have the free version gives you limited capabilities, and then we have the paid version for certain kids. But I can push it out so at least everybody can get the read aloud because that's part of the free part.
I could totally use that with some of my
Yeah.
students.
I think.
Yeah,
that
let
would
me
be
push
great.
it. I'm going to push it out today.
Now, when you mean push it out, that doesn't mean it's automatically going to be there for them. They have to figure out how to go to it.
No, I'm gonna when I push it out, what happens is it'll automatically appear on this bar for every kid.
So they have to know to go up there. Okay,
Yeah, it's like that puzzle piece RW
got it.
icon. So I'll push.
They're logged in through Chrome, correct, Ed? It can't be through a Safari application or anything like that.
Yeah, it has to be Chrome. You have to be logged into Chrome. If you're on the Chromebook, automatically you're logged in. But if you're on a different device, you have to log into Chrome.
Maybe Ed, can you do an extension Google Extensions tutorial?
You know what? I'm obsessed with extensions. I love them. I can spend 5 hours on the ones I have up here that I think are game changers, including the
maybe
Bitmoji extension.
Like as myself as a special ed teacher, there's anything that I can do accommodation wise that you know of I would really appreciate it.
Sure,
'Cause
definitely.
I'm struggling with that with some of my students who still can't read some of the stuff.
Yeah, sure. I think Tom Spazzato actually had a good list of some things, accessibility tools. Tom, did you have that from one of those conferences you went to?
Yeah, absolutely. I can send that to you.
Yeah, and then I have also a list of other things like PDF Reader. So if I wanted kids to read PDF, it's the same company that does Read Write. I should push this one out too.
Yeah.
This reads PDFs for kids.
But now they have to click on it. Like I can't make that happen when I have an assignment.
No, yeah, they would have to do that on their end. Click
Just
on it.
suggested, I guess, Emily, like this is our
Yeah,
assignment.
in the assignment I would write,
Okay.
please click that little PDF extension.
And it would automatically appear for them on their.
Yeah, I'm going to push that out so it will be on everyone's account.
And once you click on,
kids here.
click on the extension and whatever, it'll start reading whatever's on the screen. Or
Exactly. Yep.
Emily and Caroline, I'll make a tutorial for students. I'll make a PDF on how to use Google Read Write with pictures, and I'll put it on our shared drive so you can
That
send
would
it.
be amazing, Tom. Thank you.
Sure.
Excellent. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, I mean, I appreciate anybody who's doing screencasts on things that they use. It's great. I can add them to the teacher Google Classroom. Great.
I'm sorry, just going back to the question tab underneath the assignments. Could we assign that to individual students as well?
Yep, on the right here, everything that you do inside Classroom, you have the ability to differentiate. So here,
The only one able to go into that question and respond back to.
exactly. So, and no one else sees that. So if I want to ask Allison a question, only that's the only person who sees that.
Okay, great.
and when you post that kid, the third graders now have the emails. Do they get an email notification that there's a question that's posed to them?
Yep, they'll get an email right in their box that says Ms. Goodman posted a question for you.
Do our administrators want to be included in all these assignments, or should we uncheck all those boxes? I feel like they're probably, how we included them or invited them to our Google Classrooms.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if they want access to those assignments or not, or can they get access even if we don't check those boxes?
And
I
I'll
think.
jump in to answer. Hi. Hi, friends. Hi. Like in the background, sorry. Hi. So I think one of the things, I know the administrative team talked about this. We're in, we're in the all the classrooms, and some people have kept the notifications on so that they can quickly get in, and some people have shut them off because it's too much and overwhelming. But we do have control of that as long as you invite us into the classroom.
Okay.
I feel like that's probably the most important point. I mean, I'm getting anywhere from like 400 to 600 emails a day. So
In your spare time.
wow. Yeah. For me, I shut off the notifications and instead just put like appointments in my calendar to go check into people's classrooms. Or as I'm chatting with people, like, oh, your classroom, because otherwise it's just unwieldy.
Okay.
There you
All
go.
right. So it doesn't matter if we include you in the assignments or not. I didn't want to overwhelm their inboxes, and so.
No, yeah, we'll if they have the notifications on, we'll get it, and if not, then as long as we're in the classroom, we can go in and see it.
Okay. Thanks.
Perfect. And then finally in classwork tab, we did it all. We did assignments, and then you can reuse a post. So click on reuse post. I can select this post, and I can reuse. And I can then reuse it and add to another tab or topic or class. It's really user friendly there. But once again, I guess the biggest thing here is to make sure that you stay in the classwork tab. It's more organized for kids when you have topics set up. And then someone just asked, you can see the people. If somebody can go on this actual account and tell me when you click on people, if you see everybody, because I'm not positive about that. So if somebody logs on to this Google Classroom, if they can see all the students that are listed, I believe you can. If you can, that means that for confidentiality reasons, if it was like a confidential group thing, you'd have to create one for each class.
About confidentiality, for reading, would that be an issue? Because if we had a class per group, let's just say, then other parents could see which students receive reading support. So would that be a confidentiality issue?
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know about any other kids with any parents.
And I see everybody.
You do? Okay, yes, I figured, yeah. Yeah, so if you don't want the kids in a group to see each other or parents to see each other,
Right.
you have to create a different one for each kid.
Okay.
Ed, are you going to review how we can view the Google Classroom from the kids' perspective? Because I would really like to see what they see.
Sure. So here's from a student's perspective, what they see. So when they log in to their stream, they see assignments that were posted. So I click on this Kami assignment right here.
Mm-hmm.
See how it says add or create their work. A student would click on this, and then they would create something. They choose the topic here. And here's a video that the teacher wants them to watch of how to use Kami. So you see what happens. The teacher added a video, and now the kid has to add or create. So in that video, it probably tells them what to do. If I go back to the stream here, I could see these are worksheets. If I click on this, it brings you right to the actual worksheet. If I click on the assignment here, it tells me it's due by the 14th. And you can see how the kid can go down the stream and see what was assigned. So if I click on this Google form, it walks me through a Google form, and I submit it. When I go to the classwork tab, you see she has all that stuff now into topics. So this is how the kid sees it all. And on the left, you see this is a question. This is just material. I'm sorry, this is an assignment. That's a question. If I scroll up, do I see any material here? No, it's just assignments and questions. And then people, this is a test account, so you won't see anybody there. And this is how the student sees it. Now, if I go to view your work.
This view on my Google Classroom now.
Say that again?
How do I access this view on my Google Classroom?
So I can create, I created for third grade like a student test account.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
And
That's
you-
awesome.
Yeah, you
what I
can
want.
add them. You can add them to that account.
Can
How
I
do
do
we
that?
how do we get the test students? Is that in our Google Classrooms now?
You're this is Carolyn, we're 4th grade, right?
Third grade, third grade.
Oh, yeah.
Third
So
grade,
for third grade, the kids account is G3 student. G3 student.
So
And the password is G3 student.
so we
So you add that kid to your classroom, that fake kid, and then you can log in as that fake kid to see what it looks like.
So Ed, supposing a kid is in 3rd grade and they get reading and they get counseling. So there's 3 different Google Classrooms created for them.
Yep.
How does that work? So they would see the 3 separate ones?
Yeah, so I'll show you that. So here's this test account. This test account, when they log in, here are the different classrooms that
Oh,
this
okay.
kid is added to.
Thank you.
And then here, under classwork, the student can click on View Your Work. And when they click on View Your Work, you'll see all the assignments that were assigned to him. And missing means that the kid is a fake kid, but he didn't do it. Right? And then if it's assigned, it tells you it's assigned, but it's not due yet, so it's not really missing. And then here, the top one, it's turned in. So if I'm a kid, I turn this work and I click on my work and I click on View Details, I could see any comments that the class gave me if that was a feature turned on, and I could see any comments that the teacher gave me. Okay.
do all assignments have that and that your work where it says turned in and submit? Does all assignments have that, like say in Google Docs?
Yeah, every assignment.
So we should be telling the kids to make sure they press that, I think a lot of them are sharing the document now rather than going back to the classroom.
Yeah, I hear that a lot, that they're just sharing it because they're probably used to it. But yeah, if they can just submit, like here, I'll go to one of these assignments. If I go to one of these assignments, that's due. These are old, but let's say. Let me go here. Let me go to stream. And I go to this assignment, for example.
Katie.
I'm looking for an actual assignment. Let me go back to the work.
Schoolwork.
If I go to this assignment here, prejudice and discrimination, it says no work has been attached. So it doesn't show me that the kid did anything. There's no evidence of work here. Okay, but if I go down to something that's assigned, this questionnaire, once again, click on View Details. And here, as a kid, I should be submitting it right here. That way the teacher can stay in classroom and go through the kid's work. What's happening, as you're mentioning, is kids are just seeing the assignment and then creating something and sharing it using the sharing tools.
Right, and then when you go to the classroom, it looks like no one's done the work. Or
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
what is done is, what's that? What is done?
So a kid can mark it as he's done with it. Like he's not still going to work on this. This is his final draft, the final work, his project.
And if you just wanted to say I wanted to post like a mindfulness video, is there a way to see if the student watched it? They may not have to respond to it. I might just want them to view it.
You should join my Ed Puzzle training at 1:00.
I love you, Ed, but I'm getting sick of you.
I know. Ed Puzzle is the way to go. That's the only way you can really add a video, and then you can see if the kids watched it, how long they watched it for. So if you posted a 20-minute video and the kids spent 2 minutes on it, you know they didn't watch it. They give you all that data.
Okay, so 1:00 today.
Yeah, or you can just watch the recording if you don't want to log in with me.
I love to log in with you, Ed.
All right. So that's that's really the view from the student here when you view your work. Once again, if you assign something with due dates and the kid goes to his Google Calendar, they will all populate on the Google Calendar for the student, which is a nice, really nice thing. So see here, it's right here. There's an assignment right on his Google Calendar, and up here too, because they have due dates. Without a due date, it doesn't go to the student's calendar. That's something I think Google needs to work on, but I guess how does Calendar know something's due unless there's a due date? And then Class Drive folder here, if I click on this basically, you'll see in a minute when it loads. Here we go. When teachers have Google Classroom, it does create a folder for them. They could put documents in a folder for kids to keep them organized. But I hear from students that they don't use this. So I'm not sure it's even worth it, but I hear from kids that when they go to their Drive, they don't have things, or they don't look for things in folders. They actually just search up here for whatever it is. And most adults do that too. They just search. And then whatever comes up, comes up. So if kids aren't really looking at folders, I don't know if it's something I would bring up to them. I feel like definitely kids in grades 3 or 4 and above have their own way of navigating the Drive. I know that organization is something we always talk about, and there are some definitely best practices for it, but sometimes kids have their own way of doing things. And that's pretty much Classroom. I mean, that's the different areas of Classroom, the settings. One thing to note, as Christine mentioned about notifications, I was getting a ton of notifications. So I went up to this hamburger top left, and I went down to settings, and I turned off email notifications. And I thought it was good, and I was so happy. It was great. And then Sean Feeney burst my bubble when he told me, actually helped me, said that you have to do this for all devices that you're logged in on Classroom on. So I had to go to my phone because I had Classroom on my phone and do that on my phone. I had to go to my iPad and do that on my iPad. So this doesn't do it globally for all devices. It just does it for this computer.
And you select which ones you want it to not receive and which ones you do. Or you have to do it for all.
It's all, yeah, it's a global thing. Yeah. And then, like, here's a good example. You can personalize that picture in the back of the title. I definitely recommend personalizing it to match your class. So, if it's a ELA class, you can put some ELA. Miss Anderson, she's very happy. She loves this. She put her own pictures here. She did a nice job at that. And you can see, like, if I'm a kid, I'll pick on myself. This might not be exciting to me, but if I'm a kid, this gives it Christine, Alan, Serzo. This is pretty cool here. So you could customize and personalize that.
Where do you do that?
So if I click on the Classroom, and I basically see here, select theme and upload photo.
Oh, okay.
I can do that right there. So I have to jump off because I have to jump onto a Pear Deck tutorial in 2 minutes. But are there any questions I can answer now?
And I have a question, but it's not related to this. But maybe we could talk another time. I'm trying to figure out how to help a kid who can't print right now. But he's first grade, so I'm not quite sure.
So print from the Chromebook or print from his house?
From his house, they don't have a printer right now.
Oh.
I can text Ryan.
Yeah, that's the thing with printers. It's tough.
Okay, thanks.
Just the kids that are there.
The libraries are closed or they're open? I'm not even sure.
Libraries are closed.
Okay.
Staples is open.
She ordered it. It's coming next week, she said. But the kid's freaking out. So I'm like, all right, I'll go and tell him to handwrite stuff. But I wasn't sure if there was something else I wasn't aware of technology-wise that would help him.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have printers to hand out, but we could
How do I go on?
I don't know.
like you're saying, for the whatever you can do now to just work on the computer and submit that way. Or as we talked about before, if his mother has a cell phone, he could do it on paper and then take a picture and submit it that way.
Okay, now what do I?
But it's sometimes actual documents, kids like the printed copy of it.
But even so, he's got an iPad. I'm wondering if there's a way for him to like freeze the document and then handwrite it. Can you write on a screen in an iPad?
Yeah, you can use it's called Notability. Notability.
All right.
It's $4 though, $5.
Yeah, but she would do that. That to me is life changing. I think for first graders, if they can do that, then it also saves us because they can just send it quickly back without a photo.
Yeah, exactly. And on the Chromebooks or the Chrome tablet, there's a extension called there's an app called Squid. Squid does the same thing as Notability.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right. Any questions? Always feel free to reach out. You can email me if you're on Voxer. You can Vox me at Chemnitzer3, and we'll stay connected. All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Be well. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken.
Thanks.